Yeah, I think they have to not do the 100 speed from the start. I think we will see more of that for the men later on in the afternoon. The men are starting at 3 o'clock. So we know that some are very fast starters, but if you are too fast today, you will get it double and 10 times in the end of the race. I think this is one of the hardest courses we have seen for the latest years.
Well, they're all getting hard now, whether you're in Pragelato, which is a bit like a building site, but the one thing I would say is that the courses are really demanding. You're up at 1,600 meters, so you're very definitely at altitude there, and they are tough. Next away, Maria Rydqvist for Sweden.
We don't know what the Swede will do here in Oberstdorf. Not that good results this season so long for the men and for the women from Sweden.
Well, back in 1987, the opening race was the 5-kilometer classic, and that was won by Marjo Matikainen from Anfisa Retsova and Evi Kratzer, who took third place ahead of another very famous name, Raisa Smetanina of Russia. And in the 10-kilometer classic that followed, Anna Jaren for Sweden ahead of Marjo Matikainen and Britt Pedersen. And in fact, the 1987 championships were extremely good for Sweden.
And then I can see you, David, that I'm chairing office together with the brother of Anne Jaren, the winner for the Norwegians in 1987, Hans Christian.
Well, the Russians won the relay in Oberstdorf, and another Swedish victory came in the 20-kilometer freestyle in 87. That was Maria-Helene Östlund ahead of Retsova and Lashutina.
Billan Östlund.
Yeah. So some famous names there from the past in women's racing.
It was a very good competition for the championship for Sweden here in 1987. It will not be the same this time.
And already you can see the effects on some of the lesser lights, not to be impolite about them, but you can see the shoulders dropping, the horizontal movement. Already it's beginning to take its effect. Now this is Belarus's Ludmila Koruk, just to get away. And we'll take a short break. We'll be back after this.
Girl Bang Chung Lee on the second place, up to 1.8 kilometers. Only 1.3 seconds behind Jenny Olsen leading up there. But we know that the Chinese are very good in biathlon. They had the second place only 1 week ago for the girls, and we also have podiums for the men in biathlons. And we also know that we have a World Cup in China next week in the near to Beijing in the end of February, I think. So they will come more and more also in cross-country skiing.
Yes, if they don't make their impression this year, or indeed next year in Pragelato, wait for 2010 in Vancouver, and then I think you could see a real demonstration of the progress they're going to make. Away to a huge cheer goes Steffi Böhler for Germany, and now one of the longest distance travellers to come here, Australia's Claire-Louise Brumley.
And it's very cold for her, you can see, David. You have just been in Australia, so you know that they have summer down there.
Absolutely, and she's wrapped up warm, although by general standards it isn't that cold a day.
But compared with Australia, it's very, very cold.
Interesting to keep an eye on Steffi Böhler, the 23-year-old junior world sprint champion of 5 years ago. Again, made her name as a junior in sprints, but now beginning to develop into a very much an all-round racer. And soon to start also another young talent from Switzerland, Sirina Michel, who's having her best ever season. And the early starters coming through the stadium and going out on the second tour, and that means this big climb, not immediately, but it's pretty relentless, this climb. And a great crowd around the trail. One of the great features of this course here is the effort that the organisers have put in here to make it accessible, so that all the way round the athletes will feel support from their different spectators, and you'll have the sort of feeling that we're traditionally used to in your country, Inge, in Norway, but it's nice to have it here. In fact, in 1987, when Mark Hödler, the former president of the International Ski Federation, closed the World Championships, he likened Oberstdorf to being the Holmenkollen of Central Europe.
And I think we will see even more spectators later on in the championships. We remember Oberhof for the biathlon World Championship last year. We had a lot of people, and it's all sold, I think, the tickets here in Oberstdorf.
Well, if you're just joining us, I'm David Goldstrom, and right alongside me, my Norwegian colleague Inge Bråten, and we're here on the very first day of the Nordic Ski World Championships, the opening race, the women's 10 kilometers underway now for just about 20 minutes, but the best still to start, the red group, the world's best, they're at the back of the field. And as we get underway, you can see it's an absolutely gorgeous day, 2x5 kilometer journeys around this course. The sunshine and blue sky making it absolutely wonderful for spectating. The temperature just about minus 6 degrees, the snow temperature. But as you can see now, as the afternoon begins to kick in, half the course will go into shade, half will stay in sunshine. Well, Inge, it is one of the Chinese who Jenny Olsen is chasing at the moment, up at the 3.4 kilometer mark.
Yeah, she had a lead to the Chinese girl after 1.8, only half a second, but we can see that the Wang Chongli from China has gone faster the latest 5 kilometers.
The bookmakers' favourite today, well, Katarina Neumanova of the Czech Republic up there with Julia Čepálova, Olga Zavialova and Marit Björgen, of course, the World Cup leader who's dominated the season so far. Well, she's as big as 6-1 in the betting if you're very quick and you can get a bet on before she starts. Here's number 42. This is Pirjo Männinen for Finland. World sprint champion in Lahti in 2001, after which she suffered a lot of stress fractures and illnesses and sickness, and this season back to something like her best. Of course, the younger sister of Finland's Nordic combined champion, the World Cup champion Hannu Männinen. And now 1.8 kilometers and really hitting the wall here, Germany's Steffi Böhler.
That was a strong start from Stefanie Böhler. 13.5 seconds in front of Elena Kolomina is a very fast start.
But is it too fast? We'll have to wait and see. This is Laurence Rochard for Switzerland on her way. Laurence, who's 25 years of age, one of the Rossignol skiers. But as Inge explained, if you were with us earlier, today should be absolutely no problem for Atomic or Fischer or Rossignol, whatever, or Matches, whatever you're on. The servicemen should not have had a problem today.
No. It should be the same for all. But I think if it will be a little bit warmer next week, as said, there will be a big difference from one kind of ski to another.
Elena Colomina, as you can see, at 3.4 kilometers, has the advantage.
Yeah, the girls from Kazakhstan has been strong for the latest 2 years. We had the skier Vladimir Smirnov. He has gone more to biathlon this year. He's in the organization of the IBU, International Biathlon Union. So I don't think he is trainer for any of the girls from Kazakhstan.
And what's really interesting also about this race, just to pick up on the format, this is the only time trial race of the whole championships. This and this afternoon's men's competition over the same course, except they go 3 times around the loop and 5 kilometers on the Bergstahl course. The Americans, Luke Bodensteiner, the American trainer, he's got 13 cross-country skiers, which is solid evidence of the development going on in both the USA and to a certain extent in Canada, who've got some real star runners in Sarah Renner and also Becky Scott. Now here's Karine Philippot, who became a mum a couple of years ago, her young daughter Margot. Just a question on Philippot, whether she's fully back to her best.
Maybe a little bit too early, but she will compete for many years still. When you are talking about this only individual race here, we can also say that in Vancouver for the Olympics, this race will be, or for the next World Championship, it will be in classical technique. They will change every second year from skating to classical technique in this individual race.
So Filippo Yokoyama just starting for Japan, and here you can see the travelling camera, the wire cam, giving us a real feeling of this open space and the descent speed.
And this will be only faster and faster during the championships.
Really important to maintain the speed that you carry towards the finish. You come over a little bridge, and that'll be pretty crucial in all of the competitions here. 20, that's Nicole Fessel coming through to finish her first 5,000 meters, but she's got to go out again. And there's the outward bridge, and travelling now with number 32, and that's Steffi Böhler for Germany. Steffi from the Biathlon Center of Ruhpolding in Bavaria. We're in the Allgäu region of Germany. And apart from being a talented skier, she's pretty talented in other ways. Plays a good tune on the piano, and he also enjoys a round of golf in the summer.
So we can also see a new generation for the German team when Claudia Künzel is not competing. We have Evi Sachenbacher a little bit later on, but she has also had big problems with illness this year.
Yes, Evi's, I have to say, generally a little fragile. She seems to get ill 2 or 3 times a season. But such is the pressure on all of these athletes now, not only in competition, but with all the other commitments that they have to the media and their sponsors. You have to be very tough mentally to organize yourself and to have the ability to say no sometimes.
And we saw just now Stephanie Böhler up to 3.4 kilometers, 11 seconds in front of Elena Kolomina from Kazakhstan. It was 13 seconds after 1.8 kilometers.
Germany again, and one of the more experienced ones, Anka Resham-Schulze, who's got the place today. 32 years of age, member of the Villingen Ski Club, and does a lot of her training in Toblach in the Südtirol. And looking very good, actually. Good, positive start from her. And Kina Sweden now for Sweden. Very appropriately named.
You were talking about the German skiers staying in Toblach. A little bit amazing for me that they want to use Toblach. It's not more than 1400 meters, not the high altitude as we say of high altitude training.
Irina Terentieva for Lithuania, one of the 75 competitors in today's race from 31 countries. That's a really healthy sign, Inge, to have that number of countries participating here. It's a real boost for the sport.
It's almost 150 competitors more here in Oberstdorf than it was in Val di Fiemme only 2 years ago. So it's growing bigger and bigger. And the family is bigger and bigger, the ski family, and that's good for the sport.
Malahova coming up to try and get in terms with Steffi Böhler. 2 seconds off the pace at 1.8 kilometers. That's not a problem.
So I think we have to wait for 57 for the red group, and they are starting just now.
And the first to go in the red group is Natalia Baranova Mazolkina, as she was known formerly, Baranova for short, and the Russians, who had an absolutely storming weekend in Reitenwinkel, coming into these championships, and a clear threat, I think, to everybody here. It was Medvedeva, Olga Zavialova won the race, and then Medvedeva was second, Chapalova was third. It was a Russian clean sweep, and Baranova was sixth.
Yeah, Kristin Steira was had a couple of good competitions in the mid of January. Was not that good in the Norwegian Championship, and maybe even not in Reitenwinkel. But this climb here in Oberstdorf should be very good for Kristin Steira.
In the 4 freestyle races that we've had in the World Cup, Steira finishing 12th, then 2nd in Ramsau, which was a lifetime best, then 8th in Novo Mesto and 12th in Reitenwinkel. So not a bad sequence, but now a big roar again for Germany, for Becky Scott, who's pretty popular as a skier in most of the world, the Olympic pursuit champion. She starts her run now.
But I think we will see better Becky Scott to the Olympics next year. Been a little bit slow the latest 2 years after the victory in Salt Lake City.
And coming out of the start gate, Sabina Valbusa for Italy. Another one of the more senior racers at 32 years of age. Of course, her brother Fulvio also involved here in the World Championships. 61, Marit Bjørgen, the World Cup leader. But this is not about World Cup points. This is about winning a World Championship gold medal. Now, she's done that once in Val di Fiemme 2 years ago. She won the sprint gold and arguably has to be favourite to win the sprint gold here and the inaugural team sprint, probably with Hilda Pedersen. But this is a fascinating test. Can she skate?
Was only 10 seconds behind the Russian in Reitenwinkel, and she was not in good shape 1 week ago, so she hoped it will be even better today. Kine Beate Bjørnås from the mid Norway has been also had a lot of illness this season, but the last 14 days she has been better and better for every day.
And again, she's one of the new generation. She's only 24.
Same generation as Marit Bjørgen, and that's a very good generation in Norway.
Valentina Shevchenko. Now, she's a good classic racer, but can she be effective here over this 10,000 meter journey in skate style? She's come close to major medals. She was 5th, for example, in the Olympics in the 30-kilometer classic marathon there. And in Val di Fiemme, behind Bente Scari when she was 6th over 10,000 meters. Gabriele Peruzzi now, last season's World Cup champion, but so far this year, Inge, we've not seen the Peruzzi of last season.
Very disappointing, but we know that they had some problems in the organization for the Italian national team. I think she is one of those who didn't like what that has happened in Italy this year.
But she is the Olympic 30-kilometer champion, so you can never write her off. Now Oksana Yatskaya, and I think this is arguably on her day the best Kazakh cross-country skier in the women's division. Yatskaya, she's right in there with the best in the world, and it'll be quite interesting to see how she progresses here.
Yeah, the best from Kazakhstan, and she can be the best 15 today.
This is Malahova of Kazakhstan, her teammate.
Been very strong from 1.8 up to 3.4 kilometers. Svetlana Malahova is 13 seconds in front of Stephanie Böhler at 3.4